Hey everyone, it is Rachel here with Backyard Blossoms here with another video. Today's video is all about, you guessed it, winter sowing. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you like that kind of thing, stick around. Today's video is kind of inspired by the lovely snow that you see in the background behind me. This is the back of our house and it is such a gorgeous view. I just love it. It looks like winter and our winter has been so weird lately. I'm just really excited about the snow. So I was thinking, you know, there's this thing called winter sowing and I have always wanted to try it. I kind of like envy the people that have those gorgeous greenhouses and I would love to have that one day, but I can't. They are just too expensive. And so I was thinking, how can I do a mini greenhouse for low cost and still get the same effect? And that is where we are going to be using these milk jugs here. And we're going to be turning them into mini greenhouses to do the winter sowing method. So if you are unfamiliar with the winter sowing method, basically it is a way of using the outdoors to your advantage. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning these milk jugs right here into tiny greenhouses. So we're going to put all of the soil, all the nutrients that these seeds would need throughout the growing season. And basically we're just going to be checking them for moisture levels. We want to make sure that they do stay moist and we want to make sure that our temperature stays consistently cold. We don't want it to be cold and then we want it to warm up and then cold again. It would just basically pre-start the germination process and you could potentially lose your plants if you got another frost. So basically we're going to turn these into mini greenhouses. We're going to put all the nutrients in there that we need and we're going to put them out in the garden and let nature run its course. And then I'll periodically check on them throughout the winter to see how they're doing. But especially like if you have limited space to grow seeds indoors, this is also another advantage as well. I only have one rack that I grow seeds on and it gets full really quick. And so this is just another method I wanted to do to make sure that I could grow as many different varieties of flowers that I would like to. So I thought it would be fun to take some seeds that I had left over from last year and a few things that I did get this year and just kind of experiment with a few things. Some things may not work and other things may work really well. So we'll just kind of see how things go and you know, it'll be a good surprise in the spring. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so some things you're going to need. You're going to need a potting mix. And it really doesn't matter what brand you use. That's just what I had. I got it on sale last spring. You're gonna need, well, if you wanna do it my way, and I don't know if it's the right way, but I'm gonna experiment with it. I'm gonna use some organic fertilizer, just a little sprinkle in there just to give the food for the flowers to start growing. And then you're going to need some milk jugs. Save one that's not cut so you can put your water in it to moisten your potting soil. You're gonna need some seeds, and this year I decided to try some green Gold Bupleurum. I'm gonna do a me. I'm gonna do Status, right here. I'm gonna do Feverfew. I'm gonna try some Orlea, some Lavender Nigella. I'm going to also do some Bells of Ireland, some Larkspur, some stalks. I'm gonna try some Sweet William. I'm going to use, I have some poppy seeds that are left over from last year, so I'm gonna try those. And then I'm gonna try some lavender. Basically, you can try anything, but what you'll actually find that could potentially work better would be those seeds that need a cold stratification, period. So if you look on the back of your seed packet, read on how it needs to grow. I know that Larkspur is one of those, and Larkspur, they actually do require some cold stratification. So if you're gonna be growing these inside your house under lights, you're gonna need to put it in your fridge for some time. If you are going to do the winter sowing method, that just skips the whole time in the fridge and you can go straight to planting them in the milk jugs, placing them outside when it is consistently cold. So look up on your zone and your weather to see when a good time to do this in your zone would be. But that is what we're going to get started on today. Okay, so first things first, we are going to take these jugs over to the sink and we are going to wash them out. We want to make sure that they are nice and clean to start with. That way it decreases any risk of mold or bacteria growing in the milk jug itself. And it actually gives our seed starts a little chance at a better success rate. So once those are all washed out, then we're going to come back and then we're going to remove all the tops because we don't need these. All right, next step is to get yourself one of these scary looking knives right here. Be careful with it because they look a little dangerous to me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our milk jugs apart. Well, not completely apart, but partially apart. So we want to probably do our drainage holes first. I don't know, I'm not super coordinated on all things, but at least that'll give a little room for some water to escape. And then I want my hinge to be right about here so that it won't be cut on the handle part. So I'm going to cut carefully. Watch the fingers, you don't want to lose any. I have 10, I want to keep all 10. And I want to make sure and leave about 4 inches at the bottom of the milk jug because I want enough dirt in there to hold together. Okay. Put this down. Okay. So here you go. You got your first milk jug here and it is cut. And it has a little hinge on it. I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of these, get them ready to go. I'll speed it up a little bit so you don't have to watch something boring like me cutting milk jugs. Okay, so now that all of our jugs are cut, we're going to get ready on the potting mix. I want to make sure and use potting mix or potting soil and not a seed starting mix. I know it's probably like, why wouldn't you start a seed starting mix? But we actually want all of the nutrients in the soil that the plants are going to need throughout the whole season. And with mine, I'm actually going to add a little bit of extra organic fertilizer, not a lot because the seeds don't need a lot, and there are some nutrients in the potting mix, but I just want to make sure that they have all of their fertilizer parts that they need for this growing season. All right, so we are going to open up our potting mix. We're going to dump it in a big bowl. We're going to use our saved milk jug that I used it for plant food last year. So this is just water in here. We're going to moisten it with some water. Mix that all around. And you want a good portion of moisture in it. You don't want it like sopping wet, but you don't want it to be really dry. This could add a little bit more. And then I'm going to see how much I can get it to hold as far as water is concerned. Looking pretty close. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna add in a little bit of my fertilizer. And mix, give that a good mix. All right, so our potting mix is ready to go and our milk jugs are all ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to take the potting mix that's already ready and moistened. We're going to fill it in the bottom of our container, and we want about 4 inches of soil in each of the bottoms of the milk jugs. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, so all of those are packed with soil. Now we're going to look on the back of our seed packets and we're going to see how deep we need to plant the seeds. So you want to follow your planting guides on the back of your seed packets. Follow those. If they're ones that don't want to be covered, just lightly, and if they're super tiny seeds, you may just want to lightly sprinkle them over, but you also don't want to overpack them. I am planning on putting no more than 9 seeds of some of these varieties in each of my milk jugs. That way that it would be easier for me to separate it in the spring if all of them would germinate. I don't want to be opening them up and finding a huge garden in one of these milk jugs. That just would be a mess. I think the roots would get intertwined and I could potentially lose all my hard work. So small is better sometimes. So stick with that method. All right, so these are the California poppies. It says on here on the seed packet to barely cover. So I'm just going to see how small they are and I'm going to sprinkle them just over the soil. Yeah, so we're just going to do a few seeds, just sprinkle them over. I don't want 2 seeds too close together. If I oversow it, I'll just do my best. Okay, that should probably be good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slap a label on it. I know these are not waterproof labels. They're just some stickers that I had in my room. So I'm going to cover this with packing tape and hopefully this will last over the winter. We will see. If we don't know, it'll be a good surprise. All right, our first one is done. On to the next one. So now that all of our jugs have been labeled, taped up, and planted in, we are going to head out to the garden and get them in the garden so that they can start getting cold. Well, they are all in the snow. I hope they do well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope that you guys learned something from it. If you have any advice for me, let me know in the comments if you've done this before, if you have had success or haven't had success. I'd love to hear from you. And then while you're there, if you would hit the thumbs up and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.